Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of 13 Cards Subject to Change. As always, I am here as Zach, and Leroy, I think, is here as Leroy, or today he might be as someone else. Who the heck knows? We never actually know these things.
Well, yeah, I am me.
Okay.
You're always Zach.
Well, okay, all right.
I hope so.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're in the wrestling business. I mean, who knows who's what every week?
Well, that's I could be. Well, maybe it's copyrighted, but I could be Leroy Jenkins.
That's probably copyrighted at this point. That video is from the ancient days of the YouTubes.
And you know how many times I heard that? Hey, Leroy, have you heard this before? Leroy. Yes, I have.
You bought the coffee, for crying out loud. I mean, there's not much else we can say.
Hey,
about
that's some
that.
good coffee.
You keep telling me.
It is.
All right, so we got a bunch of stuff to get to on the show today. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start off here with something that we've been really excited about. Oddly enough, it's from Spot Monkey Wrestling, so we're going to jump right into that. Our boys from Top Flight, Darius and Dante Martin, finally debuted on Dynamite.
And I actually, and this is a shocker to Zach.
Yeah.
Zach just watched their match. I watched the rest of the show.
Oh, you poor bastard.
I'm still alive and conscious
I
through
can
the
see
whole
that.
thing.
Well, okay, but to be fair, you didn't have to sit through the 11-minute Cody Rhodes thing with Jade Cargill. So
no, I watched that and just that an edited version of it later on.
Oh, the
so it
edited
wasn't
version?
As, yeah,
How long was the edited version?
That was only what 5 or 6 minutes.
Oh
of
my
it.
god!
That's yeah.
It was twice that, but it felt like a 20-minute bad best friends match.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god,
Well,
was that terrible?
She was on this at last episode of Dynamite too. And
I would hope so.
yeah,
After that performance, we gotta put her back on.
Yeah, and
oh my god!
And guess what? Guess who she attacked?
Oh boy.
It wasn't Cody.
Was it Brandy?
Yes.
Of course it was Brandy.
She went after her arm.
It
was a backstage incident.
Of course
happened,
it was.
So.
It's really funny going back to that segment. It's really interesting. I listened to the Jim Cornette experience before I watched the thing. Because here's the deal. And we're going to talk about this in a second with Jim's reviews. I tend to... Because on Wednesdays, I usually watch NXT if I'm not working. So that's my show, because that's what Allison wants to watch too, is NXT over AEW. I listened to the Jim Cornette Experience review of that segment before I went back and watched it. Now, that doesn't make me not like a segment, because honestly, there's been times when Jim has reviewed something, hated it, as we'll talk about in a second, and I've found it to be okay. But no, I mean, that segment, my God, she legitimately walked up a flight of stairs onto the ramp. I know this is like an old WCW thing, or it's like an old territory. Why a ramp to the ring? I don't get that.
I don't understand.
I've never enjoyed that. They had it honestly, the first time that I remember it coming back, they had it in TNA when Hogan and Bischoff came in. They started doing it, and I'm just like, why? It makes no sense. Because they had it in WCW. I remember a lot of times they had it.
They did it for a while, and then when they were on TV with Turner, they didn't really have it that often.
Really?
No, it was kind of an older thing, and they brought it back. And maybe because Hogan is getting old, he can't help get into the ring.
It takes away, especially since the hard camera in AEW is pointing straight to the ramp.
Yeah,
and I know that and it's really weird, but the hard camera during the pandemic era went that way for every show. WWE had it that way, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and now WWE's back to the old hard camera, even though technically there's no fans at the WWE Thunderdome, but there are fans at the Capitol Wrestling Center. So I mean,
yes.
So I mean, it's just I don't like when the hard camera's pointed right at the entrance, because then you see everything. And I remember watching the woman walk in, and I'm just like, okay. Now here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'll say this. When I watched the review, I was under the impression that it was a 20-minute segment, that it had gone 15, 20 minutes. This thing only went about 11 minutes. But my God, if it didn't feel like it went longer, because legitimately, it's like people are always like, oh, if you listen to Jim beforehand, you're going to come in with an already negative opinion. I disagree. I have my own opinion on these things. It may match Jim a lot of the time, but I have my own opinion. My opinion is just the same, that, my God, that woman she was very robot like in her delivery. It was very awkward.
Well, and to Rosetta too is we both have listened to his review of the Top Flight
so anyway
match, and we do not totally
no.
agree.
Okay,
with
so
what he had
basically
to say, so.
Top Flight debuts. They get a match against the Young Bucks. Again, this is a good Young Bucks match, but again, as I've tried to explain on the show 1,000 times, the Young Bucks turned into this highlight reel version of themselves. I mean, Shawn Michaels in the later years of Raw was kind of that way, but but Shawn was past prime. Shawn was at a point where it was 20 years in the business. Shawn was a highlight reel at that point. We knew Shawn wasn't going to get a world title match when he was in his late 30s, almost 40. We knew that wasn't going to happen. So Shawn basically was a highlight reel. But the Bucks, in my opinion, yes, they've been in wrestling now, according to their book, what's it been, like 12 years now? 12, 15 years, somewhere in that range?
I think something like that.
Yeah, anyway. But it's just the Bucks have not had that much TV experience or exposure, probably was the better word, for me to sit here and say, okay, let's get a highlight reel, you guys. I mean, that it's like when the Dudleys, went back to WWE for that last run, they were at a highlight reel point of their career. Sorry, folks, that just happens. Taker's been in the highlight reel version of his career for the last, probably 10 years, honestly.
Yeah,
but
something like
that.
Yeah,
something close to that. But anyway, so Top Flight has the match. I actually enjoy it. I actually think it's a decent match. Jim obviously liked the package beforehand. I thought it was a great package too. There was a couple of highlights there from, I think, some Heavy On shows.
I possibly, but I think there was a few on there from First. They were on there also.
Probably First,
I
more
did
so,
see
or Heavy On, yeah.
Somebody did one, and I actually saw Eric Cannon and Darren Corbin in a couple of the kits.
Okay.
They had, and I was like, because I know they both have competed.
Well, they mentioned Molly. They mentioned Eric Cannon a couple weeks back on Dark. They've mentioned that Ken Anderson was training them. I really wish Jim had heard that line, but obviously, if you have who's really listening to the commentary of AEW anymore? It's really hard to listen to.
A little bit.
It's difficult.
It says Bucks debuted in 2004.
Okay, so 16 years. But anyway, I mean, but it's just, here's my thing. The Bucks gave me a real tag team match. It flowed. I was able to actually follow what was going on. They weren't setting up for stunts, because at this point the Bucks shit is just stunts. Am I wrong?
Well, no, you're not. No, you're not.
No, I know. I mean, look. Kevin Owens sets up a stunt where he jumps off the Titantron or the logo at WrestleMania. Obviously, hurt himself, was out for a while. But I mean, you've got a scenario where, that's a stunt. That's a big thing that you're planning. Hell in a Cell, Shane versus Undertaker. Shane jumping off the cell. That's a stunt. You're preparing for that crap.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I do agree. I very much enjoyed the match. I thought, as we talked about before, that when the Young Bucks went against FTR, they kind of changed their style a little bit. I think they did the same thing with this one. They thought about it.
Well,
they changed their style to work with.
Well, they're very similar in style, but the thing about it is that to me, Jim's not a huge fan of the modern flips that we see from everybody. Obviously, they're called the Flip Bros when they're in Minnesota. I mean, in Heavy On, they were the Flip Bros. They, DPW, they were slated to be the Flip Bros. So, I mean, the thing about it for me is that you have a scenario where Top Flight is an unbelievable young tag team. Both guys are very, very good, in my opinion. Obviously Jim's got his opinion, but Jim hasn't seen their work in AWF. He hasn't seen their work in First Wrestling. I'm not even sure if they've been AWF. I'm just throwing out a name from a local Minnesota show type of deal.
They've been in a lot of them across Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
there,
obviously we watched Dante as Dorado. I believe Dante as Dorado. Yeah, it is, because Darius is Airwolf.
Yeah.
So we've seen Dante live, obviously, at MAW. We saw him in a tag match there,
and then we saw his brother with Heavy On Wrestling.
A
few shows for that.
But the thing is that it's like, to me, Top Flight is what I want to see. There's selling. There's comebacks. Maybe it's not to the level that Jim is. Because remember, folks, look, if anyone out there's mad, for those of you who may or may not know, Jim Cornette is not necessarily known as the guy who managed some of the greatest singles wrestlers of all time. He's not a Bobby Heenan or that, but he worked with some of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all time. I mean, from the Rock and Roll Express. He managed the Midnight Express. Obviously, they had epic battles. Midnight Express worked all across the United States, working with so many different great teams. Jim's been involved in obviously the scaffolding match situation.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so it's one of those scenarios where Jim obviously is going to see tag team wrestling much differently than I see tag team wrestling. But no, it's like, look, people out there who are like, hey, these are your boys. I'm like, they are, because we obviously want them to be successful, and we're super excited for them. But Leroy and I are still going to sit here and say, if you had a bad match, you had a bad match. I don't think they've had a bad match since they've been under the AEW banner.
No, both the dark matches I watched, I thought were great. This one I thought was great. One thing that Jim did say
Yeah.
is they're both young, but he liked the way Airwolf, the older brother,
Yep.
as we know him,
Darius.
they liked how he liked how what Darius looked like and everything like that, because he's a bit bigger than that. But I said they're young, they have potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they do, and I love it. I mean, it makes me happy and excited.
Well, and the thing about it is that people have to understand. I mean, it's like, this is not a tag team like the Bucks that's been going for. Okay. Let's take the Bucks 16 years down. Okay, let's take 2004. Now, 2004, 16 years ago, I was 12. Okay, you were what, 87?
No, I was in my mid 60s.
Okay, right. Okay, of course. Realistically, 2004? What,
2004?
Yeah.
That was that?
Let's get
16 years
ago.
ago.
Yeah, it's good 16 years ago.
Shoot, I'm 45. Well, oh God, I love math.
So 29.
I get my son here. He could tell me the correct math.
So 29, basically.
Yeah,
you weren't even 30 at that point.
Yeah,
okay,
I was right around.
But see, that's my point. Is that, look, both those guys 16 years ago, Darius Airwolf was 5, and Dante was 3. So I mean, they were literal kids at that point. So I mean, you have to understand that they're not a team that is like the Bucks. Like, let's be honest, the Bucks are probably on the back 9 of their career versus the front 9 of their career. You don't go 16 years in this business and turn around and be like, yeah, I'm on the front 9 of my career. You're kind of getting ready to probably walk off into the sunset. Even if you go 10 more years, I mean, it's not going to be the quality 10 years that you had, 10 years ago. I mean, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just, no. I mean, these guys, 21 and 19, folks. I mean, they're incredibly young. They're incredibly talented. They've been taught very well by Ken Anderson, Molly Holly, obviously, Nora. They've been taught by Eric Cannon, who, Eric Cannon, despite his tweet about how I was the one doing the horrible punches during that bad Dark Order segment, that was not Eric Cannon, ladies and gentlemen. And Eric Cannon would have had too much respect for Dustin to probably be like, I'm not just going to punch you right in the mush. But I mean, we all know in wrestling there's the idea of or the phrase potatoing someone, when you just flat. Nia Jax has basically coined the phrase, and she got in the ring. She just potatoes people, where it's just this horrible move. Eric Cannon would not have been punching that terribly. I can promise you, folks.
His name was top flight. I mean, they have
Eric Cannon has been on 205 Live too. I mean,
yeah, and you look at it too as like, you look at who they've gone toe to toe with, they've wrestled against and wrestled with.
Yeah.
In Minnesota alone.
Oh,
they've wrestled with and against 2 of the top guys from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Which is our, Darren.
Yep.
And from Eric Cannon. I mean, 2 of the best people that they can learn from and do stuff. And it could show. I mean, I forgot, and I should have reached out, and I probably will do that, and reach out to Darren.
Yeah.
To see if he has, if he's seen him. He's been busy.
Oh yeah.
If he's actually watched the match and everything, and if he has anything to say about about the boys, and try to get a hold of JDX too, Justin, and see what he has to. I know he is. I'm surprised he hasn't been on any yet.
Well,
which is surprising. I'm hoping he might be the next.
Well, it's interesting you said that, because he basically has 1 more year to get himself a contract, because that's what he had set for himself. His goal was 1 more year. He wanted.
That was the 4 years that you said.
Well,
Facebook, or was it?
He said on Facebook, I think he has another year to get himself contracted, just set his goal. But obviously Justin's got many more years, in my opinion, of great quality matches to wrestle with. I mean, Justin's fantastic. And in all honesty, if I was him, I would reach out to Dante and Darius and be like, hey, can you guys send my stuff to the Bucks, and maybe Cody will take a look at it. And Cody, I would love to see Cody versus JDX. That would be fantastic.
That would be anybody against JDX would be. I'm so much looking for. Well, not.
I really don't want Joey Janela to face JDX.
Okay, all right.
Because I really don't want JDX to be brought down to that level of competition.
Okay, we'll have good quality talent like Cody
all right,
or his brother
that'll work.
Or Jericho or like Matt Hart. I mean, you know.
Can I get the Jericho from 10 years ago? Because I don't
well,
know. I don't know about the Hangover Part 7.
Did you
Jericho.
watch
that?
It's trust me, it was very messed up, and I'm like,
of course it.
Did I actually watch this whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I did.
Welcome to my life. Watching what I watched.
Yeah, and it said my food stayed down.
Okay.
I didn't get sick.
Okay.
So I was very impressed that I've grown a tolerance.
Very good.
Yeah.
Trust me, that tolerance won't last long.
But
anyway,
when I was watching it too, I don't know if you noticed. Taz's boy was praising Top Flight.
I did see that. Yeah.
We should add him in. Do you really think we should add everybody? And that's good.
No, that was really good. But no. So anyway, moving on here. Can't wait to see Top Flight again. Just so you know, folks, at the end, it looks like they're gonna have maybe a rivalry with the Hybrid 2, which is Jack Evans and Angelico. Nothing against Jack Evans and Angelico. They were both very good in Lucha Underground for a while.
They were awesome, yeah.
Angelico obviously got big because of the dive he took off of what was Dario Cueto's office.
Yes.
Back into the ring. Great moment for me.
Wow.
And Jack is a guy that was obviously in Ring of Honor a few years back. Jack's been doing a lot of the lucha stuff in the States even before it got big with like obviously Top Flight and the Bucks kind of deal. Jack's been doing it forever. I mean,
yeah.
I actually like Jack. I think Jack was made out to be somewhat of a bum, and obviously him and Angelico were not tagging together when they were in Lucha Underground. They were sort of on opposite sides of the venue. But anyway, for me, I look at the Hybrid 2. I think it's a good mesh of styles, not a clash of styles. I think that Jack and Angelico are better than people think. My only issue was where did they come from? Why did they come from? What was the point? This goes back to the Brandy, Cody, and Jade Cargill segment of, okay, Brandy just cuts the promo of her life, and now all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Cage and Starks are attacking Cody. We have no idea why. They can't leave well enough. Like, I mean, seriously, there's no one saying, okay, stop. And by the way, Will Hobbs threw a chair randomly.
Yeah.
At the end of the Jade Cargill segment, and now he's in Taz's group after months and months of him saving the baby faces, helping out the baby faces. And again, this is the guy who, when he had his first match, or at least it was a pay-per-view, they told the story about how I think his brother saved him by shielding him from getting shot. And I'm sitting here like, you don't run with that, but you're going to throw him just in a heel stable, right? That's nor here nor there. I'm not going to get into that right now. But
yeah, when they came in attack too, I was like, because they said,
well,
generally,
because they hadn't faced him on Dark. They had like it was a hit and run by TH2 that made no sense because they had never met on television. They hadn't even met on Dark. I've watched everything Top Flight's done in Spot Monkey. They've never been near the Hybrid 2. They've never had a random encounter with them.
So it's like, why did they do it? Is it going against Top Flight, or is it going against?
Well, but that's my biggest problem with this.
It's up in the air what they're going to do.
But again, I mean, this is I actually think that this was in the review of the Top Flight match with the Bucks. It's a show that looks like it's booked by someone with attention deficit disorder and possibly attention deficit hyperactive disorder. You're sitting there and you're like, okay, I'm paying attention. I get where you're going. And then out of nowhere, you're just like, throw a chair in there because there's no reason for a chair. So I mean, look, it's weird. It's odd. I don't get it, but okay, I don't mind the tag team pairing. And honestly, I hope that they go through with that. I hope it's not just a random drive-by with everything. And, we'll see what'll happen. But anyway, moving on from there. Nice little segue here. So the Bucks, as we now know, are the AEW World Tag Team Champions.
Yes.
It's clear to all of us that after a year on television, the Bucks feel it is now time to make the Elite the champions, to make them the guys and everything. Although Cody's no longer really with the Elite. He's kind of off to the side doing his own thing. He's kind of keeping himself separate from what the Bucks and Omega are doing.
That might be a good thing too.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. Yeah. But anyway, by the way, I do want to say this. We'll throw this nugget in here. Although I don't necessarily like a lot of what's been happening with him. Props to Kenny Omega for saying that he's been wrestling with a torn labrum. That's not
Yeah.
exactly an easy thing to work with. I do hope that he gets a chance to show the end of his run segment before he gets a surgery, if he has to get a surgery. I know hopefully he doesn't have to do surgery. Maybe he can just work around it type of deal. But anyway, toss that in there. Now back to other stuff. So the Bucks are the tag team champions. We were talking with, I feel like it was Jesse or Bug. We were talking about, the thing was Bug, about, okay, what's going to happen now that we have the epic tag team match that ended clean? That was what, 2 weeks ago? And
Yeah,
no one
something.
and no one has
I think it's up
seen.
to 3 now.
Okay, or is up to 3? Okay,
Yeah.
so we haven't seen FTR since.
No.
What? It's over. We're done. 4 years on social media. You did everything you could to build this up, and then you ended it clean. There was nothing. You had Tully Blanchard, and you did nothing with him. Look. Okay, I'm gonna throw a scenario out here. It was mentioned on the Jim Cornette podcast, but I know you probably haven't heard it. Do you think they just pulled a Hogan bringing in Warrior and WCW just to get over the fact that he did the job for him at was it WrestleMania 7? Warrior versus Hogan Intercontinental versus WWE title match?
Oh, that might have been. I'd have to look it up.
Okay,
but...
yeah, but I mean, honestly, that's what I hate, is that it feels like it's just coming down to that, where I'm getting this weird sort of vibe of they brought him in just to, do this weird sort. WrestleMania 6? WrestleMania 6. Okay, so yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
this is
yep,
WrestleMania 6. But
yeah.
anyway, we all know Hogan brought in Warrior to WCW to get a win over Warrior to sort of make
Later
up for
on.
that situation.
Yeah.
But it's just, we're getting to that level with the Bucks right now in FTR. Okay, folks, just so you know, Leroy literally wrote it on our format here for the show. Bucks FTR fallout. There is no fallout. Nothing's happened.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
look, I know I've sat here and I've said I hate the instant gratification society of wrestling versus the long-term storytelling that Matt Hardy has now turned into a joke because of the final deletion.
yeah, we're not talking about
No,
that again.
we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, here's the deal. I don't get what people want me to say. I don't like instant gratification, but I know what it takes to be like, you need to come back the very next week and say something. You got to give me something.
Yeah, they're not like.
You got to give me an interview. You got to give me oh, FTR's not here because they're still pissed. Something needs to be mentioned about what was supposed to be the biggest money-drawing tag team match of the frickin' decade.
Yeah, they can't like pull an Undertaker where they're gone for a period of time. Undertaker can do that.
Yes.
They can't.
The streak's not alive for you guys to
No,
have
no
the mistake.
streak.
You can't do that. So there is no fallout. And if we go into Dynamite and they do something next week, that's 3 Dynamites since the epic match. I don't care anymore because you've already forced me to watch 3 more weeks of television.
Yeah, and the Bucks did a good.
You made Leroy watch 2 hours of television.
That's crazy. The Bucks did it good because they planned for their first match since the pay-per-view 2 weeks ago, but they were still saying his knee was injured,
Right,
so
yeah.
they held it back a week, which is good. They kept that story going.
But the thing about it is that
that's the only thing that was good about it.
Yeah, well, not only that, but it's like FTR hasn't even been heard from.
I mean,
what are they, brooding somewhere? That's like, what the hell's going on?
Crying each other's bowls or hugging themselves in a closet somewhere.
Again, this is what confuses me.
Yeah.
And this is what bothers me about this show. If you out there don't watch this show consistently, God bless you. Number one, you've survived that little nugget. But I mean, if we're gonna be in all seriousness, okay, we watch the show because we want to make sure we know what we're talking about, type of deal.
Yep. Oh yeah.
It is so schizophrenic. It is so ADHD. I'm so confused because, and honestly, I saw the first couple episodes and I was like, okay, they're new. Maybe they didn't have TV written, type of deal. But hell, they're freaking 3 pay-per-views in the summer before they debuted on TNT had more consistency than their television show has had, and those were pay-per-views.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah, their promos and whatever their stories are just like, but performances in the ring is getting better. Not for the women's,
No, God, no.
but it looks like everybody's getting better. Even Orange Julius
Oh, God.
is still that goddamn his hand still is weird. But
You see it now, right?
yeah,
You can't stop watching it.
Yeah, thank you for doing that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Jim Cornette said, "Go back and watch it. You'll never not see it."
Oh.
I went back and watched it, folks.
It is.
We don't know Jim Cornette and Brian Last. We are not here promoting their podcast. But here's the deal: when you say something and tell me to go look at it,
I'm gonna do that.
I'm
too,
going to
yeah.
do that. And then I'm
Oh,
going to turn
my
around
God.
and be like, I can't stop watching this because it is in my face. I've been watching dudes hit the ropes for years. Not saying I'm perfect at it, but I'm not putting my left hand on the bottom rope, gripping it with all the might I've got while I'm trying to bounce off it. I mean, and the thing about it is it's not a once a match thing. It's not a once a week thing. It is every time he hits the ropes. His left hand is down to his side, grabbing the rope. I don't know what he's doing with it. I think it's incredibly stupid and dangerous because, folks, you don't have to be an in-ring technician or general to know that if he accidentally slips and pushes down the rope, his ass is falling out the middle rope and he's just flying through the middle rope to the floor. And I'm never advocating for someone to get hurt. I'm never advocating for that by any means. Okay, thank you, Orange Cassidy, Kenny Omega, all the Bucks for going out there and hurting yourself for my entertainment. But the fact is that that's what's going to happen one of these days. Is he's going to hit with too much momentum. He's going to, his butt's going to be out, and he's going to push down because you never hit the ropes the exact same way. Ric Flair didn't hit the ropes the exact same way every time.
You can.
No,
there's no way possible.
No, I mean, it's
even Mr. Perfect couldn't do it.
Exactly,
and he's perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's just what bothers me is just I can't look away from the fact that it's happening. But sadly, Orange Cassidy has also turned into a highlight reel of everything he's done. Now, the 3 matches with Darren Corbin, different story. Because Darren Corbin brought something out of him. Darren Corbin was able to put together a really good situation with him. They were able to put out decent matches. But what I don't understand, folks, is how you can watch this guy who reportedly is the Money Mark favorite wrestler of Tony Khan, who, again, is not actually the guy footing the bill for this wrestling company. He pretty much just goes and does things and then sends a check to his daddy. His daddy's got more money than God, so his daddy just doesn't care. But the thing about it is I'm sitting here and I'm saying to myself, you are paying money to a guy who has not gotten better. He hasn't gotten tougher. I'm not any more interested in seeing Orange Cassidy. See, here's the thing. Again, I feel like we talk about this way too much on the show, and I feel like we get to this way too much. I don't have a problem with Orange Cassidy's gimmick. I don't have a problem with the way the Bucks do their matches, but why is it the same time every single time? And here's the other part. Brian Last brought this up, and again, you don't have to be an expert to know this. Why is Orange Cassidy on the show every single week? Why? With no belt, with no real consistent storyline. Why?
I don't know, because supposedly he is one of the top favorite guys in the company. Maybe merchandise sales or whatever.
He's Tony Khan. Here's the deal. He's Tony Khan's favorite guy. He sells merchandise. Even John Cena, in his run, there was a Raw or a SmackDown he just wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was a quick backstage thing where John said, but the thing is, Orange Cassidy doesn't talk. Except for apparently a debate on global warming that brought Eric Bischoff to a tear. But I don't. These are all things that have happened on the show.
Well, I purposely watched his match because he had his match. I can't remember who he went against, but the guy he was wrestling tried his damnedest to make him not put his hand in his pocket, and they did a good thing where they delayed his pocket move for a period of time which was good, that made it a little bit better, but
Well,
they still got to work on that.
well,
They
but the
could use
thing
that
is,
for a
well,
last resort or
but the
something.
thing is that you and I have obviously watched wrestling for a long period of time.
Yeah, yes.
Feuds, blood feuds, they're supposed to change you. You're supposed to become different in some way. You're supposed to be able to take that and you're supposed to be able to run with it and you're supposed to grow as a character. Obviously, Triple H comes to mind when you look at his feuds with William Regal, turn him into something. His feuds with Shawn Michaels turn him into something. His feuds with Goldberg. Like Triple H has come up, not
Yeah.
not heart monitor, everyone's dead, end of story type of situation. But it's just Orange Cassidy just got done with a blood feud that took almost 3 months of television, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe that I sat here and I dealt with something for 3 months that ended with him going in a vat of orange juice. If you want to call it a mimosa, you can call it a mimosa. Gallons upon. They made 2 of those, by the way. I still don't know why they made 2 of them. Because, first of all, if Jericho just got tossed in one, and you were only supposed to toss one guy. So why did you take up the entire ring area on both sides with 2 vats of orange juice? But, again, I go back to this, and I can't believe that I'm saying that this actually happened. But anyway,
They could have used just one.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. But it's like there was a blood feud between these guys. Orange Cassidy was actually growing. He spoke. He stopped putting his hands in his pockets. He actually was kicking Jericho. And then it's over and it's like it never happened, and now it's just a memory that Excalibur brings up once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here saying to myself, he's just back to doing the same old stuff, which, by the way, goes back to the idea that he is still in the indie mentality of I was in an area with one company for a while. I did a bunch of shows for them. I had a feud going. Something was going on. It was like the long-term storytelling with obviously when Funny Bone came to MAW for the first time, he ended his first night with Ryan Cruz.
Yep.
And then that show was months and months before we were at the Poorhouse, where Ryan Cruz is getting his ass kicked, and Funny Bone comes out and helps him again. And Funny Bone was gone for those months. He wasn't even in MAW consistently moving forward.
Yeah, and the only people that really knew him were, well, us,
Yeah.
and that have seen him at another show. I don't know how many people there
At the Poorhouse.
actually knew who he was.
No, because technically the Poorhouse versus Turtle Lake, that's a decent amount of distance. That's a good.
Yeah, and it
that's
was
a
good amount
4-hour trip by car difference.
Well, yeah, and time-wise too, it was many months.
Yeah, exactly.
It was warm out. It was kind of cold when we were down there for that one.
For the Poorhouse, it was very chilly. But as he pointed out, but he's from Las Vegas, so I mean, chilly for him is like
Well, it was chilly even for us.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, it's just I go back to AEW and I say to myself, the Bucks have not done shit with this. FTR is gone. I don't know why. I'm looking at the fact that we're not growing in things. Orange Cassidy is the prime example because he went from wrestling a job dude from the Dark Order to now he was on a match with another guy I'd barely heard of in AEW, and it's going nowhere. Nothing's happening, and but I mean, it is the plague that curses this show, or the curse that plagues it, whatever you want to call it.
Either way, yes.
Yeah, okay. But it's just it is this constant issue that I bang my head against the wall every time I watch, that we are doing nothing with this stuff. You had an opportunity, whether you like them or not, Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss as a tag team consistently on the show, and now they haven't been on Dynamite in over a month. They had this big thing on the internet where they were like, we're going to be the new Midnight Express, even though legally that can't happen.
Yep.
Because the only people that can be the Midnight Express are the former members of the Midnight Express and Jim Cornette. They're the only ones allowed to use it. But I get why Jim said, I'm not going to go manage FTR in AEW, because he would have managed them. You would have had the return of Jim Cornette to manage FTR, and then you would have had a month of no television.
Yeah.
And they're still paying these guys.
Yeah.
They're paying them to not be on TV.
Yeah.
That's the dream, number one. But I mean, it's
definitely, yeah.
But I mean, okay, we'll talk about this a little bit later because obviously now the PWI now has a top 50 tag list.
Yes.
We're obviously going to reveal the top 10 here on the show that have come out. But I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, FTR's in the top 5. I'm just going to tell you that right now. They're in the top 5.
Yes. The Young Bucks.
The Bucks are not in the top 10.
No, they're not.
But yet you have supposedly the best tag team in the world. Now, okay, the PWI doesn't necessarily mean the best. It's just one of those scenarios where they're thought of as a big time idea. People look to that and they kind of take their opinion seriously. But my God, you've got them, and you had this big epic match that again, Tully should have found a way to interfere. They should have won. They shouldn't have. And again, we even said they gave them a weird sort of good out with the whole they lost because FTR tried to flip. All fists, no flips type of guys that they've been since they've been in there. So you gave me a little something, even though I still think it was a clean finish, and we shouldn't have had a clean finish in the very first one.
No, definitely not.
It's like we're reaching somewhat the end of the pandemic. I mean, there should be a vaccine probably in the next 2 months rolled out that's going to help bring an end to this problem. They've been saying.
Yeah, something like that.
But anyway, it's like, so you're telling me for 4 years on Twitter, you just sat there and waited, but you can't wait 2-3 months to do something on television when we come back? You can't. Like, I mean, you're telling me that you've killed the business according to the name of your book. You've done all of these things. You were killing it, and you can't find a way to write 3 months of television that, by the way, does have one more match in which you guys would go over then, and then you would get the tag titles in the third rubber match. You can't write me 3 months of television where you essentially get one match out of it, and then if you can get a decent number of fans back into Daly's place, that you can't turn around and be like, hey, here's the big match. I don't get it. I'm lost.
So am I. I am lost.
And it's sad because you are given a roster that's actually talented. I mean, we have banana bread, folks.
Well, yeah, I made some banana bread. Yeah, I was in a baking mood.
There we go.
Little muffins before, but yeah, I mean, and Pac. No, it was Pac, the wrestler.
Pac's back.
He was back.
Yeah,
and he kind of reconnected with the Lucha Bros.
Yeah,
and I mean, so in his match, with that, and then at the end, Eddie Kingston came in and interfered.
Yeah.
So I mean, they have glimpses. They have of something they can do great, but yeah, it's a little chaotic and makes you want to smack my head against a wall or something. And I don't want to do that because I might get a headache and cut my head.
That's fair. But I mean, again, for all of you out there who think that we're just bashing on it because that's the cool thing to do on wrestling podcasts these days, I want to come on here and I want to sing their praises, but I can't sing the praises of something that doesn't make any sense. I can't sing the praises of something that I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, you've got me hooked. I'm interested. And then 5 minutes later, I've got dancing girls with brooms, which Kenny Omega never did when he was in Japan. But now I've got me, you're trying to sell me the cleaner gimmick with girls with brooms, which, by the way, he had coming out for the contract signing. It wasn't even a match.
I was there, because it made me go, what the? But he's never used anything like that before, and why?
I mean, okay. In Japan, there was probably a few random shows where he had something with brooms. I'm not saying he didn't. He himself came out a couple of times, but the problem is that this again shows to me, and we'll talk about this a little later on the show here. It shows to me that NXT, now we'll just talk about it. NXT and AEW, they're not in a war anymore. They're not.
No.
And the reason why I say that is because Well, I don't care about the ranking or the ratings anymore. But I watch NXT. They don't seem like they're trying to go all out. That they just seem like they're trying to tell the story. Obviously, Leon Ruff is a prime example. We're just going to tell a story. By the way, I'm all for pushing Leon Ruff if he keeps giving me promos like that. That was impressive. I liked
God,
that.
yes.
That was a good introduction to the attitude of Leon Ruff. I liked that. Thank you for that.
That was that the last whole NXT show
Hands
from
down.
beginning to end
Oh yeah.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, so I get so excited at the end.
Right.
And I did. And I got that down here too. But
it was off camera too.
What?
The announcement. But we'll get to that in a second.
Oh, okay.
But no. It's interesting. Jim Cornette has said numerous, and I go back to Jim because he's the guy who I've been able to consistently get stories from the old days and all the other kind of stuff. Jim said it during the Monday Night Wars. He didn't look at the quarterly, hourly, even full show ratings every Tuesday when they came in. Or it was like Tuesday or Wednesday the ratings came in.
Yeah.
He didn't look at that. He just said, let's focus on being the consistent, better show. And as we saw with Vince Russo booking of WCW, which may be some of the blackest days in wrestling history. Because my God, you want to talk about booking that might have been worse than the AEW booking? That was just an embarrassment to the business. And the problem is he did that with stars too. He didn't just do that with a bunch of underneath dudes from the indie scene that we've never heard of. He did that with stars, established, named guys.
And then he also thought it was the greatest thing ever that he did too. But
yeah,
that's the bad part.
Well, again, any success Vince Russo has had in the wrestling business, whether it be the Attitude Era, whether it be the time on WCW, which the wrestling fans don't see it as a success, but other people might be like, yeah, you produced for a national television show, whatever. Any success he's ever had. Okay, Vince McMahon has been a promoter since the world-class wrestling days. Since the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
He's been involved. Whether his dad was in charge or not, he's been involved. He's a third-generation promoter. He's promoted from the days of Bruno Sammartino to the 80s golden era of Hulk Hogan, through the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era, yada, 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 PG era. You get where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
This guy has promoted with Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, Triple H, old Undertaker, old Triple H, old Hulk Hogan. He's promoted with Rock and Stone Cold. Vince Russo has never had success without some of the biggest names in the business. And everyone's like, well, okay, you just said some of the biggest names in the business, and Vince had the same thing. Yeah, but the difference is that Vince McMahon was the one who was really kind of pulling the strings. The only moderate success Vince Russo's ever had, he had the NWO, which he fucked up. He had the Rock and Stone Cold, which he didn't F up because Vince McMahon was there to make sure it still looked like a professional's thing. Also, nothing against Hogan or Nash or Hall. Were they really going to be bigger than Rock Stone Cold when they were at their peak? It wasn't going to happen.
No. It's like, honestly, Vince has been doing this since 1968.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Vince McMahon.
He's been doing it for longer than I've been alive.
But that's my point. He's promoted with so many different stars. He's had so many different guys be champions. Vince Russo's success comes down to the Attitude Era, Rock and Stone Cold. I'm pretty sure you and I couldn't have fucked that up.
No, and with Vince too, it's like Vince Russo had established stars. McMahon created stars.
Yeah.
He gave the idea of the Undertaker.
Yeah.
And it rolled for 30 years.
Yeah. We'll talk about
that in WWE.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in a little bit.
He did something before that, but
yeah.
I mean, that's what Vince could do. He's like, I don't like that idea. Here, let's try this. And it worked.
And again, remember, Vince Russo, it's been reported by multiple guys, would sit in a production meeting and he would just throw these dumb ass ideas out. Well, as Leroy and I both know, Leroy's got 2 kids. and this isn't a joke about your kids. This is just a joke about how kids are dirty. You throw something at the wall long enough, something's gonna stick.
Yep.
And so my point is this.
They usually bounce off the ball a couple times before they
Exactly.
stick, the kids do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's my point. It is just Vince can hear 100 ideas a day. He only needs 2 to be like, okay, let's focus on it. Let's go do it. And then Vince Russo might have had the idea, but you had a team full of guys who'd been in the wrestling business for, I don't know, combined 150, 175 years who could make it work. And then you had guys like Rock and Steve that could pull it off.
Yeah.
So if you want to talk about and I'm going to air quote this for our viewers that can't actually watch us, you want to talk about the success of Vince Russo, you tripped over 2 of the greatest stars in the history of the business. Then you go to WCW, and not only do you fuck it up, but the only way you had any moderate success was because it was Hogan, it was Hall, it was Nash, it was the NWO that had already been established before you got there, and then your angle booking made it into the lasting memory is David Arquette as the world champion and Viagra on a pole match. These are 2 things that happened. I'm not making that's not a metaphor. Those happened.
Yeah. Look it up. It is actually, unfortunately, wrestling history.
Yeah.
That we don't want to talk about.
No.
Much.
I mean, we could, but it'd be 2 hours of us pretty much shitting out of our mouths, which Vince does most days. But anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's my deal.
Did I do a good job with the banana bread this time again?
It was good. It was very nice.
Yeah. Do you want some hot butter with that?
No, I'm good for now.
Okay.
But anyway,
reason to be on my show.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
You know.
But anyway, going back. Okay. So going back to our point, we got off a little Vince Russo rant there, but those
right.
But those are always fun. I don't think NXT or AEW are trying a ratings war anymore. I think, and by the way, I think this is good for both of them. They're just trying to be themselves. They're just trying to do their things. AEW is clearly not trying to grow an audience because they're keeping the same bullshit every week, every same hour. All I get's the same crap.
Yep.
It's only for their 850,000 people that, again, when you look at the numbers that we've already talked about on the show 1,000 times, when you look at how cheap this show is for TNT, when you look at the fact it's a Wednesday night, which is like the 4th most watched night in television,
yeah.
When you look at all this, it's not something that TNT cares that much about. You got 850,000 people average. That's fine. Now, in 4 years when that contract's up, they might want more than the 800,000 they already got.
I think I'd want more.
I would, for how much, for the fact that, it's barely costing me anything, but I'm still paying you. And NXT is just they're going back to creating storylines. They're going back to developing talent. They're going back to their own thing. Now, okay, do I think that the Great American Bash, the 2 nights, was supposed to go head-to-head with the pay-per-view of AEW? Yes, I do. Those were head-to-head. Mind you, NXT won both nights.
Yes.
The facts.
Love that. That was great.
Can't dispute that. Actually, well, I know they won the one night with Keith Lee, but the first night I'm pretty sure they inched him out as well, if I remember correctly.
Believe so, yeah.
Okay. So anyway, obviously we're proving that when it's time for the stars to be stars, NXT can stand toe-to-toe, if not be better. My biggest thing about AEW is always going to, be for their fans. NXT is going to be, and I've made this comparison 1,000 times. You and I have both watched plenty of bands over the years, heavy metal bands, hard rock bands, that they change the albums up in terms of style, and they alienate some people, and some people, still like it, but you're trying to build an audience, and that's what I think NXT is trying to do. Is they're trying to build an audience, folks. You're gonna lose a few audience members to build a bigger audience. That's just the way wrestling goes. It's always been the same way.
Yeah.
Whereas AEW, I think, and I'll toss it to you. Do you think that AEW and NXT are still in a ratings war, or do you think we're at a point where they're just both doing their own thing, and in the end, the one who will quote unquote win out is the show that's going to be more consistent? Remember, Jim Cornette said he just wanted the more consistent wrestling show.
Yeah, and
by the way, folks, WWE won, so I just
Well, yeah, and I think they have, but I didn't. When I said I watched it, I did not see AEW taking jab at the big show
yeah.
or anything like that. So I'm like, yeah, maybe they have moved past that, and I really hope so. NXT, they haven't really acknowledged the other company at all whatsoever,
No.
but they're consistently going and doing what they're doing, and because things are being restricted, they're starting to get into more stories and getting into a great show, putting on
I don't
quality matches and
I don't
stuff
care
like
what
that.
anybody wants to say. I don't think that Leon Ruff is ultimately at the end of the day in the same category as Damian Priest or Johnny Gargano, but why not try to make another star? What's wrong with that?
No, nothing wrong with that at all.
What's wrong with Leon Ruff? We're going to toss you in the deep end with these two sharks, and you're either going to sink or swim. Nothing wrong with it.
He's he's doing good.
Yeah.
I mean, oh
I've enjoyed it. I don't know about you, but I've enjoyed the
yes,
damn thing.
yeah. It was kind of like, I can't believe they're doing this. Oh, they're gonna, and I was like, holy crap. Yep, they're doing it,
Yeah.
and they haven't officially announced any matches
No, no,
for.
no. But anyway, so this past NXT, which again you said you loved corner to corner, you thought it was a great show
Oh,
from the
top
start
and
to
bottom,
the
yeah.
finish. Okay. So Pat McAfee showed up with his boys,
God, I'm loving him.
and now okay, interesting. NXT ran long. I didn't think Finn Balor was going to get on the show because Finn Balor didn't even come out until like 9:02 local Central Time, and the show was supposed to be over at 9.
Yeah.
And Finn Balor's in the ring. He didn't get a long entrance. He just came in the ring. Pat McAfee and the boys show up, 4 members,
Yep.
and all of a sudden Finn Balor says, I've got something for you. Well, not necessarily in those terms, but you get where I'm going.
Oh yeah.
And Undisputed Era comes back, and they're all healthy, and they get into a brawl, and then we go off camera, off of television, with them still brawling. And then you find out on WWE.com exclusive, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to set the scene for you. I'm not going to get right into it, but William Regal comes out. He says 4 members on each team, 2 teams of 4. Y'all know where this is going. And my favorite part was I think it was Adam Cole was in the ring begging William Regal to say it. I think it was Adam. Might have been
I think
Adam
so, yeah.
or it might have been Bobby Fish. But anyway, War Games. I know Aaron in the lounge kept saying, "Why y'all talking about War Games? They ain't announced shit." And now they've announced it. We have War Games.
That's gonna be
It's
December 6th, I believe.
okay.
I'm
Yeah,
right?
sounds about right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be Candice LeRae versus Shotzi Blackheart supposedly. But we have an official War Games match, and I wish it was on TV, but I love that they showed it. Pat McAfee's face was like, "Oh, what did I just get myself into?" Oh, so it's not just a one-on-one physical wrestling match contest of me and Adam Cole, who I called a shrimp, who I don't think is in my league athletically and I think is past due in NXT. Oh, this is War Games. Oh, gotcha. War Games. And the reason why I'm doing this is because this is what Pat McAfee's reaction was. I loved it. It was fantastic. But yeah, Pat McAfee's sitting here like, oh boy.
Yeah, that'll be
Oh
a
boy.
December thing. I believe that is a Sunday.
Yeah,
So I'm looking for it. When I said that, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, baby.
I said I was sitting here by myself, and as when Undisputed came on, I was like, yes.
I honestly think
Oh
that NXT War Games has taken the old school War Games to a different notch. It's been more than what it once was. I'm not saying that I'm not here to say if it's better than the old style War Games that Dusty came up with and all that other kind of stuff, but it's been brought to another level in terms of
yeah,
of ability.
the last one I watched, and I think it was last year's.
Yeah.
I think it was,
Okay.
and it was
Was that
incredible.
the year that Ciampa just basically dropped Adam Cole right from the
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
so
I
yeah.
watched it and I was just like, holy crap! I
Yeah.
mean, they put on a good show. The ladies put on a good show. I
Yeah.
mean, and the title match just before before Finn came
Yeah.
out, that was
Oh God.
they
God almighty.
they put
Whew.
on a great
Clinic.
match. Oh my
Clinic.
god!
And the thing about it is that folks, look, you want to know what a problem I have in AEW is giants being competitive with small children. This was a scenario where I don't think I lost how big Rhea Ripley is versus how much smaller Io Shirai is. That it was a big woman, little woman match, but Io Shirai still came off as the genius of the sky.
Oh yes,
Nothing was lost on these two women. Instant chemistry. They can be separate for months, and my God, they can put on a fantastic match.
yeah,
Loved every second of it. Couldn't take my eyes off the screen because both women were just at the top of the game that they are at.
yeah. And they had some minor cosmetic injuries. As Rhea had a couple. I think she had some
She had some
hit
blood
to her
split.
blood from her ears.
Yeah.
I read up something that she got one of her ears got ripped out or
Okay.
something like
Yeah.
that.
No.
So they patched it up.
Yeah.
She got,
Yeah. Of
but
course.
other than that, I mean, it was a little minor injury that the way she has earrings, it could happen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's no way around it.
Yeah.
Same with Jeff with the way his are.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, easily get
Yeah.
injured.
But
that
that's
way
my
too, but-
thing is just look, there was blood, it was natural, there was a realism to what each woman was doing. Folks, it just loved it. I could watch it again. I honestly could.
Yes, I could. Oh
It
God.
was so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know we throw around the term instant classic a little too much, but can I also point something out? Not a lot of false finishes in that match.
No, there was not.
There was not a lot of riptides and Io coming out of the riptide. I don't even. Did Rhea hit a riptide in that match? I don't actually remember. Did she hit a riptide?
She came really close to one.
Close to one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But no. I loved it. Can't wait till they get back in the ring again. Whether it's next week or whether it's 2 years down the line, I could care less. These two women, great in the ring. Love it. Again, I sing the praises of Io Shirai all the time because my God, she is as crisp and as perfect in the air. Knock on wood. But she is so good at what she does. I mean, it is.
Yes, she does.
It just.
Oh my God.
And again, it just once again shows I don't care if you are a WWE NXT hater and you're like Serena Deeb and Thunder Rosa are fighting for the NWA Women's Championship. They ain't as good as those two girls were.
That match was okay, but no, it did not.
Even the one in NWA was good. It
didn't hold up to
guys.
To this
no,
one. No, heck no.
No, this is the best top end women's division of all of wrestling. And it's now been reported that Kenny Omega wants the NXT or the AEW women's division to have their own show. And I'm promising the world right now, you ain't going to hear us review that show because I ain't sitting through 2 hours of that women's division. I'm not.
If they're running around in their underwear for about 20 minutes, yeah, then maybe I'll watch it.
It's very chauvinistic of you.
Yeah.
It's true, but it's very chauvinistic.
I'd watch it then.
You're not wrong.
That'd be the best thing about the show, probably.
And here's the thing. No one is saying that these women are not athletic, but the way that they're used is just awful.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
That's why me saying them running around in their underwear would be all right.
Oh my God.
That'd be the best booking ever.
Sad but true.
Hate me, send me hate mail for that or whatever.
Send us anything.
I'm an old dirty pig. I'm sorry.
He is.
Yeah.
He is, folks. My God. If it weren't for the banana bread, I'd be having my mask on while I was in here for more than for more than just the Rona. Anyway,
you might be in a whole chem suit.
Exactly.
That'd be the smart thing to do.
Yep. Anyway, so War Games is coming up. Can't wait to see that. First of all, UE always puts on a great War Games. Win or lose, they put on a great War Games. Can't wait for that. Where are we going here? Again, Undisputed's back. Obviously, they were kind of hurt. Give them some time to sort of relax and everything. I think it was smart to keep Roddy and Bobby off of television while Kyle was healing up from his epic battle with Finn Balor,
Yeah.
and obviously Adam Cole was hurt. Smart booking to just keep the whole Undisputed Era off of television. And I thought it was great. Loved it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It
Whether it
sets
was
the
planned
story
that,
up.
I don't know if anything was wrong with Roddy and Bobby, but it was just smart and it was good to keep them off of TV while the other two healed up. I mean, it was great.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Great. Absolutely.
It sets up for War Games beautifully.
Oh yeah.
And
all right, so little transition here. We're gonna get War Games here. It's been reported. We have no confirmation from WWE, and anything coming out of Dave Meltzer's mouth, I take with a grain of salt. WWE is talking about never doing house shows again.
yeah.
As much as that sucks for me, because I think you get a different identity of the wrestlers when there isn't a TV camera in front of them. You don't have the regulations of the FCC when you're on a house show. It's fun for the fans to get to see the wrestlers live. The wrestlers get to work on things. You get to fine tune your gimmicks and your moves and all this other kind of stuff. Look, it's 2020. I get it. You want to talk about other sports, ladies and gentlemen. Kawhi Leonard got load management from the Clippers. Didn't work. They lost. They lost anyway. But you're in an era where they're making more money than they've ever had. I'm not saying I'm not saying the getting rid of house shows is going to help with the salaries, but I'm saying that we live in an era where athletes, whether it's through OnlyFans, proper of course, obviously that can be considered like a porn joke, but I mean, it is what it is.
Two different ones on there.
OnlyFans, Cameo, Twitch, YouTube. There's so many different ways to make this kind of money. I mean, goddamn, the guys from the old territory days would have killed for this kind of cash.
Oh yeah, they would definitely.
They're making money hand over fist from their likeness to their endorsements, everything. And again, I'm not saying that everyone's getting paid like Taker and John Cena, but there's more money for the lowest guy on the card than some of the top guys were in the top territories. You can't tell me there isn't.
Yeah,
You're getting paid. Some guys are getting paid $500 to sit in catering.
Yeah, and if they decide to stop doing house shows, that bad because we can't see them, but good because that could keep the longevity of some of the wrestlers too, because there's a possibility
and that's the thing.
Not getting worn out.
Whether I agree with this or not, we live in an era of a different generation. You are obviously from a generation where hard work meant everything. And I'm not saying that these people aren't hardworking, but the mentality of society is different. It's changed. Nobody wants to work as hard as they used to have to. When you were younger, your parents, your grandparents, your family, even your generation as kids, hard work was something that, yeah, it was rough. You didn't necessarily look. We all just want to sit on our butts and get paid. That's the dream. No one wouldn't take that.
Well, yeah.
But the thing about it is that, well, if you get paid legitimately is what I'm saying.
Well, yes.
But the thing is that your generation, and this is kind of not disputable anymore, hard work was something you just kind of accepted. You accepted that you had to work hard to get somewhere. And we live in a society now where everybody wants free college. And here's my thing about free college. You don't have to take student loans out. You don't. You and I both work for a company where you can start at 16 and by 30, you're making enough money to live. Maybe not 4 kids in a house, but you're making enough money.
Yeah.
You're making decent money with Quick Trip Incorporated.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm doing a lot better.
You've got a duplex, 2 kids. You're doing fine. 1 income. Yeah. You're doing great.
Yeah, I mean, I worked for another company or another business for 9 years, and in 6 months I made more here than I did in 9 years.
And that's my point is, look, let's be realistic for 5 seconds. You can go to a trade school and you can learn how to be a plumber or an electrician in 1/4, if not half the time of going to a 4-year college degree. It won't cost as much. And let's be honest, when you're a good electrician, you're a good plumber, you set your own damn hours and your own pay. I've always been told, if there's a $20 an hour plumber and a $100 an hour plumber, it's going to cost you a lot less to do the $100 an hour plumber. You want to know why? They're going to do it faster because they're good at it.
And I know somebody that was slinging subs and driving subs sandwiches here in Duluth and Superior. And I haven't talked to her for a while, but I know
Yeah.
her cousin. And then she went and she's a master electrician.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. And she makes damn good money.
Yeah.
And it took a few years of her life to go in
And the thing,
and do that,
and
and boom.
so, and basically what I'm getting at is back to my college thing is you don't have to take student loans. You make that choice. Yes, college is expensive. There's a reason why it's expensive. It's not as much a money grab as people think. Everyone just thinks that, but it's not. You have to pay things in college. Colleges cost money. That's just the way the
Oh
world
yeah.
works. But the thing is that you've agreed to pay a loan. Which means you've agreed to terms. You don't want to pay that? That's not my problem. You agreed to that. It's not
Yeah.
it's not my problem. But the thing is here is that look, it's a different generation. They want to work not 300 days a year. They want to pull back on that. Maybe house shows will come back when everything gets a little bit calmer and we know how to do them safely. And people actually, and I'm saying this live, I don't give a damn who you are. And by the way, we have a lot of listeners outside the United States who probably already know this, but these are to the United States listeners. Take the damn vaccine, you morons. Moving on. But no, this generation, it lives on Twitter. They don't want to work 300 days a year. They don't want the grind of the road. Obviously, we've heard many times from Taker, I came from an era where that's just what you did. If you could walk to the ring, you had to put on 20 minutes. Sorry, it's just the way it worked.
It's like my dad, he's 5 years past retiring.
Yeah.
He's still working.
Right.
And it goes with me. I'm still working. I plan on sticking with, Quick Trip until I retire, or unless something else comes up. This thing pays us. I go for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, my brother went to school. He went to school for computers.
Yeah.
Right now he is driving dump truck and hauling stuff like that. Right now he's making a living. Because he's just doing it.
I have a base medical degree. Yeah. I went to school for respiratory therapy. It's a specialized form of nursing. It's basically what's handling the crisis now with the pandemic. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm making half the amount of money that I could be per hour. Number one, I'm glad I'm not in the medical field. It's a goddamn shit show right now.
That would be horrible.
My mother's happy I'm not in the medical field. But Quick Trip, they came with better benefits. They came with more belief in their employees, more growth than just the money and all. So it's like, look, I'm not saying don't go to college, but college ain't for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad I graduated from college. For me personally, it was a great thing to prove to myself that I could do it. And I'm happy that I did it. But I've also learned, now college is where I met my now fiance, God bless her. So obviously I wouldn't change what's happened. But in hindsight, I should have just gone to Quick Trip when they came into the area, gotten a job there. They've been in the area now for what, 5-6 years?
6 years, because
6 years.
I started December 2nd. Me and Joanne on December 2nd.
Because you've only been there about a year longer than I have, basically.
I started in 2014, and they opened their first stores up here in the late summer, early fall of 2014.
Right. Okay. So you've been there 2 years longer than me. But anyway, my point is that I should have just gone there, because by now I'd probably be making $18-19 an hour just to be a basic employee on the floor.
Yeah.
Depending on, obviously where we were at the time or what would happen. But I mean, look, it's a different generation. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's where we're at. It's a generation where they can make money not traveling 300 days a year. They can have families. They can be in the same town. You might get more people to agree to contracts if it's not 300 days away from their families. If it's only maybe 150, maybe instead of doing 4 house shows a week and then TV, you do 2 house shows a week and then you do 2 hours of television.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as a fan, am I a little bit against the change because it means there's less chance for me to see them? Of course I am. But as someone who has run the roads, even on an independent level, and it's only been Minnesota, Wisconsin we've done this in. I mean, we've thought about going to Iowa, North Dakota, all these things.
Oh yeah.
I've traveled for football. I've traveled for semi-pro football. We traveled to, I think I've told the story on the show with Jimmy here. I remember one day I got up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. I was picked up at the corner of my parents' house where I was living, right by the end of the driveway at 7 a.m. on Saturday. 7 a.m. on Sunday. I'm not kidding. It was weird how it worked out. I was dropped off at that exact same spot. 24 total hours. And for a lot of people, 24 hours is like that. You go to work, 8 hours done, you come home, you rest up, you go to bed, you sleep. I drove 8 hours. We had a 3.5-hour football game that I was on the sideline for the entire time, dealing with that kind of stuff. We had to eat. There were stops along the way. Then we had to drive back. I watched the sun set in North Dakota. I watched it rise in Duluth, Minnesota. These are things that happened that day.
Oh yeah.
Look, the road's hard. And by the way, we weren't getting paid. We paid for that league. We paid the referees to do that game. We paid for our gas. We paid for the food. We paid for the uniforms. We paid for everything. We got nothing out of that, but our asses kicked 100-0. We still did it. I wouldn't change those days for anything. We weren't getting paid. You and I are not getting paid to travel for MAW or for Heavy on Wrestling or for any of these things. We're getting in for free, and it's cool to watch the show, but we're not getting paid for this. Look.
Very pure and dry. I mean,
yeah,
I didn't get paid for it, but the experience
right.
And to be able to meet.
But again,
it's just great.
But again, you and I are from, whether you're from the same era as me, which you're not. I come from the beginning of the era that people now blame. I'm a millennial. I'll just say it. And you know what? I hate to say it, but my generation does have a lack of a work ethic. It does.
Brain problems sometimes with them do.
It's bad. I'm sorry, folks. I'll be the first person to admit my generation sucks. I hate the majority of my generation. But it's just, here's the deal. I was raised by my parents, who are both in their 60s, near their 60s. They came from a different era. My grandfather, who is 92, he tells stories of the hard work and the labor, and they're all true because they never waver when he tells them. But his dad came over from Europe. He shoveled coal for years, 8 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours. His mom, she ran a boarding house for the immigrants that came to work in the mines on the range. My grandfather, when he was young, before he went to go work in the mines, yes, at like 13, 14 years old, because there wasn't child labor back then. It's like I watch Man vs. Food, and there's a 12-egg omelet, and they're like, oh my God, I'm one bite away, but I can't do it. First of all, if I'm one bite away from finishing a food challenge, you're not stopping me from eating that one bite, okay? I don't care how much I've eaten. I can force myself. Exactly. But here's the deal. 12-egg omelet, those are food challenges now. My grandfather did 12 eggs and 12 pork chops for breakfast. You want to know why? He went to work 8 hours in the mine shoveling coal.
Yeah, my grandparents, I mean, till I don't know how many years before he died, I mean, we had a working farm.
Yeah.
And that's what he had. And I grew up doing that.
Yeah.
Baling hay.
Yeah.
Milking the cows, everything. I mean, it's just, yeah. I mean,
it's a different era.
It is. And I love it. And I mean, and with your parents being that age, I mean, that helped you kind of be like me, because my parents are a little bit older than yours, but within 10 years of your parents.
My parents never accepted that you did. Look, okay, I'm going to be honest with you. My mom and dad never expected straight A's. But my mom and dad said you should damn near be able to pull out a B or a C. You want to know why? Because you're not that stupid.
Yeah.
And it's not that hard if you put some goddamn work into it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest with you. I could have been a straight A student, but I'll be honest. I could basically just sit my way to a B or a C, and I was fine with that. But I still had to put in the work.
Yeah, well, same with me. I mean,
I could have been straight A's if I had tried, but it's just, it wasn't that big of a passion. I went to school because my mom told me to. My only thought process was, well, I'm forced to be here for 8 hours. I might as well get some proper, I might as well get some success out of this. Look, I don't care if you're forced to do it. There's no point in going somewhere for 8 hours and not getting some success out of it. No reason.
Yeah, I know. It's just like when I graduated, I was like,
I
graduated. What the heck am I going to do now?
I am not. look, here's the deal. We ain't getting paid for it, but we have clicks, we have views, we have our friends and family that tell us it's actually a good show. We've had Darren Corbin on, and who said you guys were a very different, good interview, different than I've ever had, but very good. And I'm like, that's because we try. We say it's 95% bullshit because it kind of is. Because we don't because
Well, yeah.
because we don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it, but we do it well and we try. I don't know if we're great, but you ain't gonna be able to tell me we're not good at it.
Okay, we're the greatest wrestling podcast in the Duluth Superior area.
There might be 4 of those.
I think
maybe.
there's none around here but us anyways, but hey.
That's a success.
It is. And we even got a hit. We got 1 hit in Mexico.
I saw that.
The last couple weeks.
Very nice.
So I was like, somebody likes us down there.
There you go.
If they can understand us,
Yeah,
I hope they can speak English.
But that's my whole thing, is just, it's a different kind of era. They want to be able to not work as hard but still reap some of the benefits. And you know what? Look, if that's going to be the whole era, I don't blame them for saying, let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Well, speaking of, and yeah, we talk about the house shows, and then we, I think we go right into what they plan on doing with their venue that they have right now.
Yeah.
They are moving they're moving the Dome.
I think the contract with the
Marlins.
Amway Center,
and also they
is up.
Who is the team? What's it? Who's
the Florida Marlins?
That's where they're going to.
Yeah.
Baseball team, but the basketball team that they want.
Oh, the Orlando Magic have games coming up.
Yeah, they got their. They want their arena back.
Nobody cares about the Orlando Magic, but all right.
Well, I know, but it's like they want to actually.
The Orlando Magic could just play all away games, and they'll still average the same amount of TV ratings they were if they had home games. Anyway.
So they're gonna go to Tampa Bay. They're still gonna do the same thing they've been doing. They're not gonna let any fans in.
No.
At this time. Maybe later. It's big enough where they actually.
Well, the Marlins don't play in Tampa Bay because it's the Miami Marlins. If they were going to Tampa Bay, they'd be at Raymond James Stadium, so they'd be in Tampa, not.
Well, they're saying
Miami.
Tampa Bay. I don't know what they're saying.
Okay. Well. Okay. Tampa Bay has a baseball team and a football team, but there's no basketball team. So I mean.
Well, yeah, they got so it's like it
works.
But it's interesting what they're going to do.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the Thunderdome is a neat idea. They've done a much better job policing it, in my opinion.
Yes, they have done that better.
I know recently somebody tweeted out a list of banned images. Look, I don't care about that banned image. You do what you can. I wouldn't want to promote somebody else's show if I had a television show. There's no point. I mean, you're in a competition with these guys. I get it. They don't have, you're not allowed to put up some political flags. I wouldn't want to get in political bullshit. I hate politics. I don't blame them for the crap they're doing. And again, Jim Cornette even said about his image reportedly being banned. Jim's not on the show. Even Jim was like, "Why would I promote something that that I'm not showing?" From business, it makes sense.
Totally.
Sorry, it does.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, the Thunderdome is a neat idea. It's an award-winning idea. It was something that I thought was the best of a bad situation. But as long as people adhere to the actual experts on this goddamn thing, we're gonna get to a point where the Thunderdome is not needed, and it's gonna go in a warehouse in Stamford, Connecticut, only maybe to be brought out when the idiots out there who don't believe in the Rona are gonna screw up again, and we're gonna have another pandemic problem. I mean, it's not gonna last forever. Things are gonna change.
No, yeah, I mean
that's just the way that it is. And
for the time being, it's a good idea, and it
has
worked.
And again, the Orlando Magic is irrelevant as they are to basketball. The NBA is coming back December 22nd, I believe.
Some December. They're trying to figure that out. Yeah.
Well, no, actually, Christmas Day. Well,
they did finalize Christmas Day.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yep, Christmas Day. Less than 82 games. I don't know the exact number. It's like 62, 65, somewhere in that range. But anyway, the NBA is coming back, and they're going to let teams somewhat travel. Football's been doing a pretty good job of it. I know the Vikings themselves have been tapped because remember the Tennessee Titans had some COVID cases, and it was right after they played the Vikings, and no Vikings got it.
Yeah. So that was crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, it's like I can watch football and I can watch basketball on Christmas.
Yep.
As I watch the kids play with their new toys. That'll be pretty good. I'll enjoy that.
Yeah, but anyway, no, but that's just my thing. Is look, things have to change. It's just the way that the world works, and that's the way things are going to go. And I'm interested to see where they're going to go with what they're doing. I mean, obviously, things might be different, but I mean, we've gone through the pandemic with so many different kinds of wrestling. I mean, how are we not used to this by now?
Yeah, I know it's true. I'm kind of used to it, and then when they finally say, "Hey, you can go to a show," I'd be like, "What?
Yeah, right.
You're kidding me. You're not lying to me, are you?" I might not believe somebody if they say you can go to a show.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, yes, I'll be excited. I'll be like
I
giddy
honestly,
like a little
I
schoolgirl because I can go
honestly,
to a show.
I honestly think that as soon as we get the okay to do a show in Minnesota, I don't even care where it is. You and I are probably just gonna take the day off and drive down to an MAW show
I'll
and just
take
be
like 2 days off. Like we're going. Hey,
"Dan-"
mom, what? Here, take the kids. I'm going to a wrestling show. Okay, have fun.
as much as I hate to say this, but if your mom's not available, just drop them with the ex. As much as I hate to say that.
I know you're gonna take time off work. Why? Because the daddy's got to work.
Yep.
Bye.
Damn straight. Damn straight. But anyway, no. So I mean, look, it's a quick thing. We don't know the full ramifications yet, but yes, the Thunderdome will be moving. The Amway Center needs to move away for the Magic, as much as there won't be any real Magic in there because the Magic are not a good team. But it's God, I'm just making enemies all over the sports world today.
Well, sometimes you just have a little magic, and like me, you don't have any magic anymore.
There you go.
Oh yeah,
That's clear. Anyway, interesting thing here. We'll move on. We were talking earlier about this. Selena Vega, for those of you
Yes.
who probably have not already heard, if you haven't heard, where the hell you been in wrestling?
Yeah, no, true.
No longer a member of WWE. There's very different reports of how she was released, why she was released. WWE reportedly has said it is because of her OnlyFans account that she opened.
Yeah, said it was a breach of contract.
Yes. Here's the deal. If WWE says breach of contract, look, you and I have talked about it on the show. I think this is old man Vince being an old crotchety bastard who doesn't understand how the world works. This I won't defend him on. However, we talked earlier, great segue by the way, about student loans.
Yeah.
You sign a contract. You're going to pay this back. You agree to the interest rate. If you sign a contract and you don't read it, that's your own damn fault. I'm going to say this right here. If you're listening out there and you copy and paste that long thing that says, I refuse to allow Facebook to use my photos for what they want, you're an idiot.
Yep.
In the terms and conditions when you make a Facebook, it says they have every right to anything you put on their site. You're a website designer that is using their server. Get over it. It's not a privacy issue because you signed a contract saying you agreed to this. You don't like it, get off Facebook. I don't care. You're the idiot who doesn't realize that, you know what? Mark Zuckerberg has every right to your photograph from your family to use in any platform he wants because you agreed to it.
And if he wants to put my ugly mug on anything,
there you go.
Go for it. I wouldn't, but hey.
And here's the deal. Everyone's like, I didn't agree to it. No. You are responsible for hitting the accept button when you didn't read the terms and conditions when you agreed to build a Facebook. Deal with it. Get over it. I don't care.
There you go.
Here's the deal. I don't think Selena should have been fired, but I understand breach of contract. I don't care if you're John Cena, if you're Hulk Hogan. If you breach a part of your contract and they deem it bad enough, they're going to fire you. It is what it is. If they're saying breach of contract and they can prove that, as much as I feel for Selena Vega, as much as I don't agree with the aftermath decision, you breach a contract, That's on you. This is why you pay a lawyer to read the damn thing. If a lawyer says don't sign it, I wouldn't sign it.
Yeah.
Lawyers, they're paid to read the thing. So, I mean, look, I'm here to defend Selena. I don't think it was fireable, but if it's an actual breach of a contract, folks, that's business. Paige couldn't get the tattoo on her chest. Rhea Ripley couldn't get the tattoo on her upper body because there's a toy brand deal that you're getting paid for that you agreed to, whether you signed the contract with the toy deal or you've signed the contract to allow WWE to make these decisions. It's part of a contract. You can't breach that. I'm sorry. Quick Trip Incorporated makes me sign a contract. There's certain things I'm supposed to do. I'll say it live here on the show. I have a write-up at this company for something that is immaterial, that makes no sense. But I signed a contract that they view as me breaching that contract. I can't argue with that logic. I'm sorry. I am grown up enough. I am realistic enough to say I don't agree with it. I think it's a little over the top, but I breached the contract in their opinion.
Yeah.
Well, I can't argue with that.
And it's, history has told us, it happens. People get fired. I mean, a good example. Drew.
Got
Drew
fired.
got fired. He went, did other stuff.
Yep.
He came back, and look what happened.
Again,
She can come back. It can happen.
as much as I was enjoying Selena Vega, I really hate to be the bearer of bad news here. What was she really doing on the show?
She was a good mouthpiece for the tag team, and
Yep.
then after that,
Yeah, but then they split, and she was having half-assed matches. I got nothing against Selena, but let's be honest, we're talking about the wrestling business. People have been replaced like that. Stone Cold,
Oh God, yeah.
Stone Cold and The Rock left, and I'm not saying anyone's ever lived up to that status, but their spot got replaced.
Yeah.
Anyone's replaceable in this business. No matter how many years you put into it. We're about to talk here a little bit. Undertaker is replaceable in fact in the terms of someone's going to get that spot. Are they going to leave the same impact? Probably not.
No.
But everyone's replaceable. And I hate to be that guy, but you and I said when we started the show, we're going to come from all angles here.
Oh yeah.
I am on Selena Vega's side. I don't think it should have been fireable. I think it was an overreaction. I think Vince needs to understand that you know what? You need to let the wrestlers explore these other options, whether you're making money or not. I do like the fact that Xavier Woods Up Up Down Down seems to be a WWE branded deal. Xavier seems to have figured that out.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, but the thing is for me is I'm for the wrestlers. I am 100%. But let's also be devil's advocate for 5 minutes. If it's a breach of contract, you screwed up. Sorry.
Yeah. And as I said, like it's happened so many times, people get another chance, and it is out
This is
there.
the wrestling
It is
business.
a possibility.
This is the wrestling business.
like-
Undertaker recently said in an interview, "Are you retired?" I'm gonna say yes, but I work for a man named Vince McMahon whose entire life motto is never say never.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon worked with the Warrior again. He worked with Hogan again. He worked with Savage more than once.
Uh-huh.
He worked with all these people. He worked with Eric Bischoff for a long time.
He works with Paul Heyman.
Somebody
who went against also like
Paul Heyman said a hell of a lot worse than Eric ever did. I can tell you that much, folks.
yeah,
Go
cutting
watch
right
those old
into-
ECW tapes. Holy shit.
Yeah, just yeah. I mean, you never say never.
But it's just look, WWE. Never say never, folks. I mean, there's not saying that she can't work her way back in. If I were her and she said, I'm sticking to my morals and doing what I feel is best for me and I'm not going back, that's fine. I respect that. But nature of the beast is what it is. As much as I'm against what they did, as much as I don't like the way it was handled, I feel like a little communication could have been deemed better here.
Definitely.
It is what it is. It's not going to end the wrestling business. And let's be honest, folks, we ain't going to stop watching. We're not. Sorry.
No.
It's not happening because you know what? Leroy used to watch local AWA wrestling, and when somebody got kicked out and they ended up in the Carolinas, 4 days later, you still watched the AWA. You still watched all the local stuff. You still watched the stuff coming out of the Carolinas. You still watched
that stuff.
We're not going to stop watching. Sorry. I loved what Selena was doing. I thought she had a lot more potential, but the truth is that what was she really doing? Not a lot, folks.
As I said, we love wrestling. We're gonna keep watching it.
Yep.
Ain't no way around it.
All right. So interestingly enough, we've gone through a couple of things here. We have a very big thing that I would like to say here. The PWI now has a top 50 tag team list.
Yes.
First time they've ever done that.
Uh-huh.
Leroy, which way do you want to go here? Do you want to go from 1 to 10 or do you want to go from 10 to 1? We've already said FTRs in the top 5.
Well, let's go 10 down
perfect.
to 1.
Number 10.
How the heck do you say that?
Rappo on in 3K. Yao and Show. I believe it's a tag team in Japan, maybe.
Yeah.
I think. I've actually seen a couple of things they've done. Not terrible. Didn't
Yep.
hate it. Number 9.
Kabuki Warriors.
Better tag team than I think they ever got credit for.
Yeah.
I think they got caught up in a really weird period of the pandemic, but they were actually two very talented competitors.
Yeah. And I find it interesting they're in the top 10 and they have not been a tag team for a little while.
Well, but the voting,
that's pretty good.
well, but the voting, I'm sure, took place in the last 2 years, year or two, anyway.
Well, yeah.
Number 8.
The New Day.
Yes,
Yes,
they
it
are.
is.
Yes, they are. What can you say? 10-time champions. Don't people can argue all they want about how they became 10-time champions. Look,
Yeah.
folks, David Arquette won a world title. Nothing's going to be more surprising to me than that in wrestling.
Yeah, and this and the New Day here they have listed
All three
all
of them. Yeah.
three, not just two.
It's the Freebird
So to
rule.
get that,
It's
yeah.
the
Oh
Freebird
yes.
rule
Oh yeah.
essentially. I think I think I think we should do our own top 10 or top 5 tag teams maybe next week. We'll think about talking about that. See who we can see who we
Of
can get on the show for
current right now or just all time?
all time. In my opinion,
Oh,
we
all
should,
time.
yeah, we should try to look into that.
We'd have similar ones, I think, in our top
I
five.
think we would.
Yeah.
Number 7.
Lucha Brothers.
I think a lot of people don't realize that they've been gimmicked out a little bit in AEW, but they focused on tag team wrestling for a while. They were wrestling hundreds of matches in Mexico, all over the United States as the Lucha Brothers. They're actually very good as a tag team. They play off each other very well. They're brothers, much like Top Flight, but on a much different level than Top Flight because they've been brothers and they're two of the top lucha guys in the world. You put them in a tag team, it just ends up working out.
Yeah. All right.
Number 6.
Number 6. Guerrillas of Destiny.
God, Tama, and Tonga. Ladies and gentlemen, great tag team. They are as real gets in New Japan. They have the best theme song, in my opinion. Love it. Absolutely. It gets me hyped. It's just so much fun to watch them compete. Two very good competitors. We obviously talked a little bit about them last week with Bug on the show.
Yep, we did, yeah.
All right. Number 5.
Number 5.
Top 5.
Good old boys. We want to smoke.
The Street Profits.
Oh, yes.
Whether or not you think that just because they were in the they didn't have all the success, they were a story every week.
Oh, yeah.
They're entertaining. They're both extremely athletic for what they do. First of all, Angelo Dawkins can move for a guy his size very well. And my God, I think Montez Ford has actually hit a lighting fixture a couple of times on the Frog Splash.
Yeah, he did.
He's just it's just insanity.
He's like half bird or something. I don't know what the heck it is. So.
They had a long run as tag team champions. They were actively on the show. They had good matches. They were great storytellers. I thought their work with the Viking Raiders was actually good.
Oh, that was so much fun.
It kept me entertained for a while.
God, yeah.
I can tell you that much. Number 4.
The North.
For those of you that haven't seen, very good technically sound team can really work with just about anybody in the business, in my opinion, in terms of tag team wrestling. Very, very good.
Yeah, they were
the ring.
Impact Tag Champions for quite a while.
I believe they've had a couple of reigns.
I think so. Yes.
They recently just dropped the belts to the Good Brothers. One of them.
I thought they dropped it to somebody else before that.
The Good Brothers currently have it. Currently have them. That's all I know.
Yeah, I know that.
The North, I believe, is actually just broken up. I think it's Ethan Page is actually leaving Impact. I don't know where he's headed, but I believe it's been reported that and I believe it's Page. It could be Alexander. I'm not 100% sure. Top 3. All right, so this is the area. We know one team in this area. We just don't know where they are.
There we go. All right, we start. Number 3, the golden role models of Bayley and Sasha
the
Banks.
MVPs of the pandemic. You can't say anything else.
Yeah.
They've had the mantle on the biggest show with the biggest TV slot, and they've killed it. They have. There's no denying that they were the stars of the pandemic. Whether you loved them or you hated them, you tuned in every week, and whether they were forced down your throat in your opinion or not, you watched them, and their segments did well. And honestly, they've come out of it still stars, both of them.
There you go. All right, now we got the top 2 here. Number 2. And if I say number 2, you know who's number 1.
Yep.
Number 2, Kenny Omega and Hangman Page.
I don't agree with this at all.
Me neither.
I don't think they were a real tag team. I don't care. I was talking to Gene. He said they had like 10 defenses in their reign. It was a bad storyline. They held the tag team titles basically hostage whilst they were building this now I don't give a damn segment between Omega and Page because it lasted one match. It just I didn't like it. I'm sorry. 10 defenses for how long they had it. That's one defense, yes, every like 22 days, I think it was, which is not terrible, but at the same time, they were on the show constantly. They did nothing with them constantly. there were some weeks where they were having issues as a tag team. One week they're a perfect tag team, and then the next week they're like, is this okay? It was bad. I'm sorry. It was bad. I didn't like it. I felt that the tag team belts could have been used to build talent in AEW in the first year, and it basically was just we gave it to two guys who were clearly just there to break up. They were not a tag team. They never wrestled as a tag team. The rest of this list have been tag teams. True, honest
Yes.
tag teams.
Yes.
And number 1 clearly is
FTR.
FTR.
Yes.
The best tag team in the world. They work like the old Minnesota Wrecking Crew. They're, I think, twice as athletic as the Minnesota Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, I believe so too, yeah.
They get tag team wrestling. They want to do tag team wrestling. They both can work. They both understand the psychology of tag team wrestling, whether or not they've been the best in the last couple of months, in my opinion, because they've been doing AEW tag team wrestling instead of bringing AEW tag team wrestling up. You get the idea where I'm going with that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, whether or not I agree with their AEW run, they are the best tag team in the world. I don't think there's disputing on that because I think on any given night they can get in the ring with all these tag teams, including the women, and they can probably put on an absolutely fantastic show.
Oh,
They
I
are,
totally agree.
I'm really surprised the Usos weren't up there. But
Yeah.
I do understand that the Usos have had some injuries lately. They've been doing a lot of things solo. I get it. They haven't really been consistent tag team wrestling. This was a consistent tag team list, so I'm okay that they're not on there. But I'm a little surprised. But no, FTR, it's just skill, mic work. It's all great. They're both great individuals, but as a team, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
They can out tag team wrestle anybody on this planet. And honestly, I think God would be an amazing opponent for them. I would love to see two teams that are that serious about tag team wrestling to really have a good contest. I really would.
Definitely would
but
be a fun one to see.
No, I'm looking forward to the rest of the list. I'm really looking forward to that list coming out in the future. I really hope that it puts an emphasis on something that I love, which is tag team wrestling. I want tag team wrestling to thrive again. And everyone can sit here and say Vince is killing tag team wrestling. He doesn't like tag team wrestling. There's a lot of companies that just don't like tag team wrestling and are trying to focus on the singles guys. You can't deny tag team wrestling is a dying art. It's never going to draw the numbers that LOD did, that the Midnight Express did against the Rock and Roll Express. It's never going to bring in teams like the Russians. It's never going to bring in, the Briscoe brothers, the original Briscoes, not the current Briscoes, although the current Briscoe is fantastic as well.
Yes, they are.
You're not going to get that anymore. You're just not. I think everybody is in this meme era of very rarely do you find an FTR where they care about tag team wrestling.
So do you think the Bucks made it to the top 20?
I think the Bucks are in the top 20. I think they're in the top 50 easily. Again, as much as I've grown bored, I can't say they haven't been a consistent tag team. I can't say that they haven't been.
Yeah,
that's true. You can't take away what they've done for tag team wrestling.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see how many AEW tag teams are in there.
Yeah,
there's a few of them, and see whatever when they pull out. I mean, we can't wait till they bring that out. I haven't heard when they are.
Best
bring
friends
that
shouldn't
out,
be on the list. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna say it now.
Hopefully not.
No. So we move on here to a topic. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get this out of the way so we can get to some real wrestling. As of recently, it's been announced, ladies and gentlemen, every single member of the Shield are now technically daddies.
Yes,
they all now have children.
Roman has them, and Seth is within a month. And
within the next couple of weeks, Becky's got to be due.
I think sometime in December.
Yep.
And
John Moxley recently announced that Renee Paquette, who is also starting her own podcast, is now pregnant, which I think is fabulous. Renee is one of those people in this business. I don't think anyone's got a bad word to say about her. We talked about when she left how great she was. I think that she could work anywhere she wanted. Absolutely fantastic person. Did
you see the unfortunate? She was trying to send a text to John, and she sent a text to Bailey.
Bailey found out in the absolute cutest way. I thought that
That was
I,
hilarious.
I thought that was great. I loved it. It was a fantastic thing to see. But hey, congratulations to those three guys. They put in a lot of dues. All three are great workers. Even though again we've kind of had a rough go with Mox the last couple of months.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're all great workers. They can work. But yeah, congratulations to them. And
And
they're going on a very cool adventure in their lives. And God bless all of them.
yeah, no, it's one of the best things ever to happen to me is being a dad.
There you
Being a
go.
dad 4 times over. It's
Yep.
it's lovely.
There you go.
All
All
right.
right. Now we move on here to another situation. So the Undertaker, who we'll talk about here in a little bit, he is celebrating his 30th year in the WWE. It is the final. We put this in air quotes farewell because it is wrestling. Never say never. At
Yes, true.
SummerSlam tonight. Um, Here's the deal. He was on Hot Ones, which is an absolutely fantastic show. Stone Cold's been on there before. It's a show where guys eat chicken wings with varying heat sauces that go up. They've had
Yes,
Gordon.
everybody. Yes.
They've had Gordon Ramsay. They've had Guy Fieri. They've had so many. Like, I'm actually surprised the people they've had on the show.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey.
They had Rachel Ray, which I thought was fairly impressive.
I didn't know. Oh, really?
Yes,
Oh.
they did. Gabriel Iglesias. They've gotten some really good people on that show, and
Yeah.
Undertaker did it from his own home. He's a Texas boy. He's supposed to be able to handle his spice. He didn't do terrible, but
He did accomplish one thing. He said he was not going to touch the milk.
he touched it. He didn't drink it.
He did not drink it.
He touched it though.
But he touched it. He did
touch
not
it.
drink a
He
drop.
did touch it. He
I
did not
give
drink
him
a drop.
props for that,
He did
man.
not. It was a good episode. You got to hear a lot of unique things from him. I actually, as much as I love the 30 years of Taker, I kind of like Mark Calloway.
Oh, I do too.
I really do. I
Yeah.
have enjoyed the year of Mark Calloway. There needs to be a documentary of the year of Mark Calloway because my God, he has been actually very entertaining.
If you're
very
listening,
fun.
Vince and Mark, yeah, do
If
it.
anyone's listening, give me a documentary a year of
to
Mark
get
Calloway.
That. Oh yeah.
He's very real,
Yeah.
and I don't think he knows any other way to be.
Yeah.
He's very authentic. He's very himself. He also, what I thought was cool about letting them do it in his home was he understands that this is part of his life. He has to give back. He has to do what he does, and that's just it. He doesn't have to do any of this, but he feels like he has to do these things. Taker did a good job. I honestly, even though Da Bomb was like the third to last sauce, I think that was the worst sauce to him. I really think that was the sauce that like really got him going.
I think so. He had a comment, I think, about the chocolate one too.
That was the second to last one, I want to say.
Yeah, he did. I don't. When he